I figured I would just do a top 5 current favorite fragrances with you guys, and I'm just going to include the 5 fragrances. Basically, this is my top 5 favorites as of right now to use. Now, if you recall, last year I did like a top 20 favorites of all time. These are all fragrances that are, actually one of them was not, but the rest of them are all fragrances that were scattered throughout the top 20 favorite fragrances of all time. But I just want to let you know the 5 that I'm using the most, that I have used the most in the past year. My top 5 favorites, these would be the 5 that I would choose to keep most likely. I will say this, if I were to do a top 10, you would see Aventus, you would see Amouage Reflection Man, you would see By Killian's Back to Black. Those are the 3 that I was trying to figure out a way. I mean, I could do a double up for 3 choices, but I just decided to get, rid of those, and this is the top 5. But just to let you know, those 3 would be in the top 10, as well as Yves Saint Laurent L'Homme, and believe it or not, I'm really digging Thierry Mugler's Pure Havane right now too, so that would also make it. That would be the 5 on the other end, as well as Mona de Orio's Cure. If you didn't know, I write novelettes, and I'm using a lot of Cure right now because I'm kind of doing like a Western type thing, and it kind of sets me in the mood for it, so I've been wearing that a lot. In any case, this is the top 5, and this is in order from 5 to 1, and this would be how the choices would go if I could keep them. So at number 5, you saw my review on it. This is ZRGuden. I love Uden. Very good, fantastic fragrance. Now I wish it was about $100 cheaper, because it smells like it's natural, it smells like it's worth a good amount of money, but having to drop the money on this thing every time I run out of a bottle is going to get to be a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. So because I do love this, and I wear this a couple times a week, so I can see it now. This is going to go quick. Number 5's ZRGuden. I do have a review on it, check it out. Number 4 is the freshest fragrance, probably really the only, other than Uden, the only fresh fragrance in the list. I have a review on this. This is, my favorite fresh fragrance of all time. And this is Creed's Millésime Impérial. I cannot go without a bottle of this. Just can't do it. This fragrance it's so great. I love this stuff. I love it. I love it. There's nothing better for summer for me. This fragrance, I mean, it literally is actually kind of making me thirsty right now. Like it makes me want to eat watermelon, any other sort of fruit. Makes me thirsty. I just love this stuff. You cannot go wrong with a bottle of Millésime Imperial. So that is number 4. Number 3. Now, the rest of these 3 here are all the darker fragrances of the list, and if you know me, then you know that I'm all about the dark fragrances. I wear heavy, heavy fragrances even in the summertime. I like what it does with my skin. It doesn't smell spoiled or anything. It actually smells very good. Depends on what the fragrance is, obviously, but regardless, this is number 3. This is a Guerlain fragrance here. This is Spiritus Double Vanille, and of course this is the newer bottle. Like an idiot, about a year ago, maybe even more than a year ago, actually, I sold my vintage bottle. I wish I didn't. If you had to pick a vanilla, this would be it. It's been said a million times. Spiritus Double Vanille is the epitome of a good fragrance. A lot of people will say that it smells like you just poured vanilla extract on you. To a certain degree, yes. It is a boozy vanilla. There's a little bit of rose in there, but this stuff just Gets me in the mood. Bow chicka wow. So Spiritus de Vanille is number 3, and you cannot go wrong with that vanilla. I mean, there's a couple that could, you know, give it a run for its money. Mona de Oreo's Vanille, Serge Luton's Un Bois Vanille. Those are very good too, but this one, just I would reach for this over those two every time. So number 2. Number 2 is very near and dear to my heart. This was one of the first niche fragrances I purchased. If you're curious, the first 2 niche fragrances I purchased were Bond No. 9's Brooklyn and Bond No. 9 Silver Factory. Sadly, neither one of those made it in this list, although they would make it in my top 20 to keep. And then after that, I believe I bought Virgin Island Water, was my 3rd, and this was the 4th. I, absolutely love this fragrance, and I'm actually wearing it today. I cannot imagine going out of a bottle of this stuff. It's just, I have so many memories attached to this stuff. New Year's Eve, Christmas. A lot of people reserve like Ombre Nagil by Hermes for that. That's a great fragrance too, but for me, this is really what does it. It's really just a gem. This is Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. A lot of people will tell you, that, oh, it's overrated, blah, blah, blah. It's the only Tom Ford anyone ever talks about. At one point, I owned every single Tom Ford private blend fragrance. Every one of them. Every single one. I sold off, I blind bought a bunch of them like an idiot. Had to sell a bunch of them off because they sucked. Jasmine Rouge, oh, God. Awful stuff. So, I just can't imagine going without this bottle because it's like there's so many memories attached. For all of these there is, other than the Uden, because that's more recent. This particular fragrance right here, Spiritus de Vanille, this actually reminds me of Dave, DK Mode. He really got me to love this fragrance a long time ago. It was his favorite vanilla, and it just reminds me of when times were a little bit different on here, and it was more of kind of a family sort of thing. I don't know. And then, of course, Millésime Imperial reminds me of a lot of good. I use that a lot. Tom Ford, same thing. And finally, number 1, this is a fragrance that, I'm sorry, I'm coming down. It's allergy season here. Killing me. Number 1 is a fragrance that I use the most out of my whole collection. I've got 2 bottles of it, the EDT and the EDP, and I use them, actually wear them together every time I use them. So, but I only grab the EDP just to show you. This fragrance, love it. It kind of reminds me of just what I envisioned myself as smelling like if I were like an outsider looking at me, sensual, fun, etc. Try not to sound like full of myself or anything. My number 1 fragrance of all time is still Midnight in Paris. Still. And, for all of you out there, Midnight in Paris is not that great. Fine, that's your opinion. Great. For me, I love this shit. I think it's great. The longevity, the projection, the way it smells from start to finish. Adore it. Adore this stuff. And I really, really can't go without a bottle of this. Not happening. I don't care if I'm a bum. I'll steal a bottle. I hope you all enjoyed. This is my top 5 fragrances currently. Be sure to let me know what yours are down below. I'd be curious to see what everybody, what everybody thinks, where everybody's at in the fragrance game, which ones everybody loves. Of course, I could do a top 5 nostalgic fragrances. Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce would come in number 1 for that. It is not my favorite fragrance of all time, but as far as memories go, it definitely is. So, just so you know, that's kind of how this video works. These are just the ones that I wear the most, basically, and the ones that I feel represent me and my personality the most. Fierce I love, but kind of growing out of that fragrance, I still wear it a lot, but either way, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will talk to you all later.